Microsoft 365 Administrator MS-102 real exam questions are the latest version in the whole market, which are valid for you to pass. Share some Microsoft certification MS-102 real exam questions here. 1. You need to meet the technical requirement for large volume document retrieval. What should you create? A data loss prevention (DLP) policy from the Security and Compliance Admin Center. B. An alert policy from the Security and Compliance Admin Center. C. A file policy from Microsoft Cloud App Security. D. An activity policy from Microsoft Cloud App Security. 2. You need to recommend a solution for the security administrator. The solution must meet the technical requirements. What should you include in the recommendation? A. Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, Privileged Identity Management. B. Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, Identity Protection. C. Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, Conditional Access Policies. D. Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, Authentication Methods. 3. You need to protect the USP data to meet the technical requirements. What should you create? A data loss prevention (DLP) policy that contains a domain exception. B. A security and compliance retention policy that detects content containing sensitive data. C. A security and compliance alert policy that contains an activity. D. A data loss prevention (DLP) policy that contains a user override. 4. You need to create the Safe Attachments policy to meet the technical requirements. Which option should you select? A. Replace. B. Enable redirect. C. Block. D. Dynamic delivery. 5. You need to configure Office on the web to meet the technical requirements. What should you do? A. Assign the global reader role to user 1. B. Enable sensitivity labels for Office files in SharePoint Online and OneDrive. C. Configure an auto-labeling policy to apply the sensitivity labels. D. Assign the Office Apps admin role to user 1. 6. You create the planned DLP policies. You need to configure notifications to meet the technical requirements. What should you do? A. From the Microsoft 365 Security Center, configure an alert policy. B. From the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center, configure a custom notification. C. From the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, configure a briefing email. D. From the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center, configure the endpoint DLP settings. 7. You need to configure the compliance settings to meet the technical requirements. What should you do in the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center? A. From Compliance Policies, modify the notification settings. B. From Locations, create a new location for non-compliant devices. C. From Retire non-compliant devices, select Clear all devices retire state. D. Modify the compliance policy settings. 8. You need to create the DLP policy to meet the technical requirements. What should you configure first? A. Sensitive info types. B. The insider risk management settings. C. The event types. D. The sensitivity labels. 9. You need to ensure that all the sales department users can authenticate successfully during Project 1 and Project 2. Which authentication strategy should you implement for the pilot projects? A. Pass-through authentication. B. Pass-through authentication and seamless SSO. C. Password hash synchronization and seamless SSO. D. Password hash synchronization. 10. You have a Microsoft 365 subscription. You need to identify which administrative users performed e-discovery searches during the past week. What should you do from the Security and Compliance Admin Center? A. Perform a content search. B. Create a supervision policy. C. Create an e-discovery case. D. Perform an audit log search.